Player A. Guardian of Law is absolute rubbish. I've got much better mythics in my game which do a far better job. No point using the Guardian of Law. Let's forget this troop ever even existed. Player B. Funny you should say that, because I've got some of the same mythics you just said you prefer, but to me, the Guardian of Law is absolutely miles better. Why is that? And who is right? Well, they're both right. Well, kind of. The thing is, just because a troop is rubbish for you, because you're a high level player and have all the other options available, doesn't mean to say it's rubbish for everybody else. And if you're a newer player, the opposite can be true anyway. So let's take a look at this absolute example in point. Like Guardian of Law, mine does 82 true damage as the best part of its spell to a chosen enemy. That is significantly low compared to something like Phoenix, who mine does over 170 true damage to all enemies in total. That is miles better. So you can see why some high level players would say, like, Guardian of Law, what's the point? Phoenix is way better. Even Guard's Avatar does damage to all enemies boosted by your armor, and with a high amount of armor that is going to do an absolutely huge amount of damage, miles more than what Guardian of Law does. Therefore, Guardian of Law is a absolute rubbish mythic. Nobody should use it. It's absolute garbage and all the rest of it. But that's only true if you're that high level player with really good stats and all the other mythics to choose from. If you're a newer player, kind of the opposite is true, and I'll just explain why. Let's create a hypothetical situation. Let's say you've just started playing the game, you're player level 10, but you've got lucky with some chests or VIP or something like that, and you've managed to pop Phoenix, Guard's Avatar, and Guardian of Law, the troops we're comparing here. Now, the exact opposite is true. Like, to you, that newer player, Phoenix and Guard's Avatar are absolute rubbish. They're the garbage troops this time round because they're based on, first of all, your magic, which is going to be really low as a new player, and you're going to be doing virtually no damage at all. And Guard's Avatar also is going to be doing virtually no damage because you've not got hardly any armor as your new player account, and really low magic at the same time. But with Guardian of Law, the first part of that spell doing true damage, which you don't care about. I don't care if it's 1 true damage, but with that drain, mana, and death mark, that is an absolute game changer. You can be a level 10 player on PvP versus a level 2500 player and still win with this. If you're on a team that can get this charged up nice and quick and get to cast this repeatedly over, you can drain the dangerous enemy on the opposition, as well as death mark them. And eventually that death mark will come in. You can get the whole team death marked really, really quickly, and those death marks will happen. Death mark doesn't care if you're a level 1 million player and got 1 million on all stats. If that were even a thing, it can still just absolutely just wipe them out. You try tackling that 2500 player with your super low level Guard's Avatar and Phoenix, and you will say these are the worst mythics you've ever seen in the game and they're garbage, trash, whatever. So basically, if you're a newer player, Guardian of Law is really good. If you're a established player, then obviously there are better options in the game, but doesn't mean a mythic is rubbish just because you have alternative options. It's kind of a nice hybrid troop in a way. Do you like the way you can actually do damage to all other enemies? You do have the option to drain mana if it's needed, like if a super dangerous opponent is charged up on the opposition, you've got the option to drain that mana. And it's really good as a defensive troop as well in PvP or Guild Wars. Reduce damage from spells by 80%. Betcha a lot of these people that are saying this is a trash, garbage, mythic are going to use this in one of their defense teams in Guild Wars with a nice weapon or troop which has a quick cleanse as well to protect this from stun and things like that. So anyway, enough of that. So without further ado, let's take a look at the team. I'm going to show 2 teams here, one with a double Guardian of Law team and the second one with a single Guardian of Law team. Now, the reason why this works so well with the Wand of Stars is because the Wand of Stars obviously has that awesome cleanse effectively as the first part of that spell, and the way it charges up mana so fast is absolutely superb. In this team here with 2 times Guardian of Law, if you've got high enough magic, you can choose that second option to deal that damage to all other enemies, cast that back to back with Fairy Fire and wipe out 3 enemies at the same time really, really quickly. And it does work very, very consistently. Venalis is absolutely superb for this. Entangle and Fairy Fire a random enemy when matching green gems. Really, really cool. Does that Fairy Fire just happens automatically when you clicked green. 4 things effectively happen at once when you click green. You get the green mana for Wand of Stars. You get the Tree of Enchantment because we're going to be in Geomancer for this. And one of the things we're going to have as well as Rock Solid is a Tree of Knowledge, sorry. And we also get that Fairy Fire and Entangle. And the way that this works, by casting this and just matching gems all over the place, you'll see what happens. You get Entangle and Fairy Fire just automatically on almost all the troops instantly without really doing anything. It kind of happens by itself. Then we can just cast that option back to back, the second option, and wipe out 3 opponents instantly, and then we charge it up again and just use the first option, the true damage, and destroy them. The second version of this, where I'll use 1 Guardian of Law, I'm going to bring in either a second Vernalis in place of that Guardian of Law, or an Ulor. Ulor has Fairy Fire and Freeze when matching blue gems, so it does a very similar thing, but for that second team, we'll pop the Guardian of Law to the front and then just pick each enemy off one at a time using that true damage option. So let's see this in action and see how well it works. Right, let's take this out into a few Explore 12s then. I do really like this troop as a defense option as well in PvP and Guild Wars. It can be really awkward to fight against, but remember in Guild Wars, only to run one of these at once, you will get penalised points for using 2 of them. Right, so we're looking for green or brown off the bat if we can. Green is really good. When we get green, 4 things effectively happen at once. We get mana for the weapon, we get Tree of Enchantment for the hero, which is good, and we also get to Entangle and Fairy Fire a random enemy when matching green. So when this happens, a lot of things are in our favour. And you'll see that when we cast this, the Fairy Fire effect just happens automatically on almost everyone because of the way the Fairy Fire works with the Wand of Stars. But we are looking to get both Guardians of Law up at once. So we'll try and do that. Let's cast that Wand of Stars one more time. There we go. Now when we cast this, if anybody's recovered or anybody isn't affected by the Fairy Fire effect, you cast this on them. But because everybody's affected, we can cast this on anybody you like. We'll cast it on the top troop. Cast them back to back. It's going to wipe out 3 enemies at once. And then you can just charge up Wand of Stars one more time. Get our troop up and just hit them with the true damage. And job done. Obviously your magic has to be at a reasonably high level to make this work. And you can repeat the process obviously if your magic is not as high. So it's still going to be a fairly effective troop. There are troops which are faster for this sort of thing, obviously for end gamers that have got all the different troops in the game and things like that. There are definitely better options for them. But it's still quite a lot of fun to use to mix and match those damage styles. Right, let's go up with this and see if we can get our troops up again. May as well get that because we get that nice Fairy Fire Entangle effect. I mean, Wand of Stars will backfire sometimes. It's not always going to work entirely in your favour. Can be annoying sometimes if it fails. Right, both our troops are up. Second option, 1 at the top isn't affected by Fairy Fire, so we'll leave them alone for the time being. We'll make sure we get the damage on everybody else. And then we cast our Wand of Stars. Let's get that first though, that was rather tasty. Can't say no to that. And then hit him with the true damage option. Job done. Right, let's change it around now and show the single Guardian of Law option, how you can change this round. This time I move the Guardian of Law to the top and I bring in a troop like Ulor. You can actually have 2 times Vernalis for this as well. This is going to work really, really well. Let's bring in Ulor for the minute. Ulor, what he does, I don't care about the spell, but the freeze and Fairy Fire a random enemy with matching blue gems now comes into play. And again, because of the way Wand of Stars works, we're going to get freeze, we're going to get Fairy Fire, we're going to get Entangle on the enemy so quickly, it's just going to be absolutely ridiculous. Like I say, if you don't have Ulor, but you do have another Vernalis, 2 times Vernalis is going to work pretty much just as well, to be honest. But again, it just makes green even more powerful. So same again, but running the game in a different way this time. We're not going to do that damage to all other. We're going to pick the enemy off one at a time this time with the true damage. Right, so we'll get green. There we go, start getting those effects. Wand of Stars starts doing Wand of Stars stuff, and we've got that effect on 2 of the troops already. When our troop is up, we'll pick on someone that's Fairy Fired with that true damage option. Pick them off, cast Wand of Stars again to try and get the team charged up. Or try and get our top troop charged up. Always 1 short. Quite often that will flow quite nicely and just be able to move on from one to the next. As long as they're fairy fired, they are going to take hideous damage. And again. And one more time. It's more like it. Job's done. And let's just do another one then. Let's do the mini boss. And we'll call the video a day. Yes, video. You are a day. Brown is really cool for this team as well because you get the barrier at the same time. But green, with that potion, not potion of enchantment, that's a different thing completely. Tree of enchantment, you get the wonder stars up ever so quickly. The top troop is charged. Everybody's like fairy fired and frozen and entangled already, so it makes it really, really safe. Especially that entangle at the same time. You've already got a 40% damage reduction from skulls if he were to get hit up top, but this makes it even safer. Wonder stars kind of messed us up a bit of them. That's going to happen now and again. You can backfire. And let's cast on somebody that's got the fairy fire and they're about to cast. And the cool thing is, if you're a newer player, so your magic isn't actually killing the enemies in one go like I am here, then you'll be draining their mana and death marking them. So with that death mark, they can still die anyway. So this is why I still think this is a really good troop if you're a newer player to the game. And there it is, job done. Very straightforward, pretty easy. And quite a lot of fun to use at the same time. Well, there's a video. If you enjoyed it, found it useful, helpful, anything like that, it'd be really cool if you bashed that like and subscribe button. But most of all, thanks for watching. I'll catch you again next time. Bye for now.